At a grand ceremony draped in red, white, and blue, former President Donald Trump stepped onto the stage to thunderous applause. As the crowd stood in reverent silence, he approached an elderly veteran. His chest adorned with medals, his posture proud yet humble. The moment their hands met in a firm handshake, time seemed to pause. The veteran, his voice weathered but strong, leaned in and said, "I didn't fight for politics, Mr. President. I fought for the people, the heart of this country. And seeing you here, shaking my hand, makes it all feel worth it." The crowd was visibly moved. Some clutched their hearts, others wiped away tears. Trump, often seen as stoic, nodded solemnly and responded, "America owes you everything. You are the reason we stand free today." The hall erupted in applause, not for politics, but for patriotism, unity, and the raw, undying sacrifice of those who serve. It was a rare moment that transcended party lines, a simple handshake that carried the weight of a nation's gratitude. As the applause echoed through the hall, the veteran took a small step back, visibly overwhelmed by the moment. His eyes, filled with years of sacrifice and memories, scanned the room as the audience continued to stand in respect. The atmosphere shifted from ceremony to something deeper, sacred. President Trump gently guided the veteran toward the microphone, encouraging him to speak. At first hesitant, the veteran finally stepped forward, gripping the podium with both hands. "I was 19 when I left home," he began, his voice trembling. "I didn't know if I'd ever come back. I saw things no young man should ever see. But I never lost faith in this country, because even in the darkest places, I carried her flag in my heart." The room was silent. Not even a cough interrupted him. He continued, "We live in divided times. But out there on the battlefield we weren't Republicans or Democrats. We were brothers. We fought for each other, for freedom, for every child who wakes up in this country with dreams in their eyes." Tears welled up in the eyes of veterans, lawmakers, and civilians alike. Trump himself looked down, momentarily speechless. The veteran turned to him and added, "Mr. President, no matter what history says about any of us, let it say that today in this room, we remembered what makes America great. It's not power, not wealth. It's courage, honor, sacrifice." At that, the audience erupted once again, this time in a standing ovation that seemed to last forever. Reporters put down their cameras, some visibly moved. It wasn't just a speech. It was a reminder, etched in emotion, that true patriotism lives not in speeches or slogans, but in the souls of those who gave everything and asked for nothing in return. The handshake between Trump and the veteran had started as a gesture. But by the end of that day, it had become a symbol of unity, of remembrance, and of a country rediscovering its heart through the voice of a humble hero. As the ovation slowly faded, the veteran took a deep breath and stepped away from the podium. Trump reached out once more, placing a hand on the veteran's shoulder, not as a politician, but as a fellow American humbled by a living symbol of sacrifice. The two stood side by side, looking out at the sea of faces, some tear-streaked, others still in awe. The silence that followed was not empty. It was heavy with respect, filled with the unspoken emotions of every person in the room. Then, with a quiet dignity, Trump gestured to the honor guard. A young Marine approached carrying a folded American flag. He presented it to the veteran with precise military form, but when the veteran's hands touched the fabric, his composure cracked. His voice broke as he whispered, "Some of the best men I knew never made it home. I carry this for them." The audience was again overcome. Even those who had come to the event out of duty now found themselves standing taller, feeling something far beyond ceremony. It was as if the room itself had become hallowed ground, a place where politics took a backseat to principle, where every soul present was reminded of the true cost of liberty. Trump, visibly moved, stepped up to close the moment. This man doesn't ask for praise, but today he deserves more than that. He deserves our eternal gratitude. And so do all those like him, those who carried the burden, who walked through fire so we could speak freely, live fully, and dream boldly. The veteran turned to Trump, nodded, and with a final salute to the flag, he stepped off the stage. The crowd remained standing, not out of protocol, but because sitting down felt wrong. That handshake, simple and powerful, had lit a spark. One that crossed generations and ideologies. One that reminded the nation watching from home that despite all the noise and division, honor still had a voice. And today, that voice came from a soldier who spoke not to divide, but to heal.